Okay guys, we're back again this week. I told you guys to bring your machines so that we can work on some stuff with the numbers. And the one who needed to be here isn't here. But that's okay. I mean, I think you guys need to work on it too. So we're gonna do that whole chapter of numbers again, okay? Really pay attention to what they're saying, because this is really important, and that's why I'm going over it for the second time, this week. It's that important, okay? So, this is numbers overview.
With Eclipse, 2 basic steps will give you excellent number translation. Fine-tune your dictionary and fine-tune your number settings. Number settings. Pure number bar strokes aren't even necessary in your dictionary.
You see what it's saying right there? Pure number bar strokes are necessary. It already knows what it is. It already knows it's a number. So you don't have to define it as a number. So if you have it defined in your dictionary as a number, take it out of there. Okay?
Aren't even necessary in your dictionary. Other numbers building blocks will be defined as words, not digits. 100, 1,000, million describe orders of magnitude. Write the word dollars when you hear it, not before, and it, like other money words, will trigger number conversion with the appropriate currency symbol.
You see what it's saying right there? So you don't have to worry about, oh man, I need to write dollars first because so it'll know that it's a dollar. You don't have to do that, okay? It already knows, and you write it when you hear it. So when they say $439, that's going to be at the end. So you do number 439 dollars, DLARS, and it already knows, it triggers it to know that it's in money, okay?
If a number doesn't translate right, it's probably because of an old dictionary entry.
Did you hear that? If something's not translating correct, it's because of something in your dictionary. And we went over that last week, how you can go in and edit your dictionary, okay? Go in and take all those strokes out. They usually have numbers. Now some of them you want numbers, remember? When you're doing the stroke with the asterisk or with something else that triggers it to mean time or something else, that's when you need it. But when you're writing it like this, and he's doing 23 mil, you don't have to do that. You don't have to define 23 because it's a number. It already knows it's a number, and mil already knows that that's how you do million. Now be careful with mil, because you can work at a factory mill. So you don't want it to conflict with your numbers. So you want it to be something totally different than you use with your numbers. Same thing with 1,000. Now this person does it $1,000 right here. So the DS triggers it to mean that's their dollars, okay? Same thing with cents, okay? Is cents a word, S-E-N-T-S? No. Is cents?
C-N-T-S, like cents.
Yeah, but not S-E-N-T-S. No. So you want something that's not going to trigger it with your cents also, okay? And I do crents, because KR is C. So that's the way that I do it. You don't have to do it that way or whatever, but that's just the way I do it to keep it different, okay? So just like he said, if it's triggering something right here that's not coming out correct, then you probably have it in your dictionary incorrect, okay?
Number doesn't translate right. It's probably because of an old dictionary entry. Remove such entries and your building blocks will work properly. A separate presentation deals with finding and moving entries in and out of your dictionary. Occasionally, you'll want to convert numbers after translation. Mark the number first, then click on the toolbar icon, or use the menu or the speed key.
Remember we did this last week? So if you have a number in there that needs to be converted into something else, Control-Shift-3 opens up your user settings in the numbers. Okay? I'm going to rewind it just a bit.
Of your dictionary. Occasionally, you'll want to convert numbers after translation. Mark the number first.
You see how the number is? You see how it is? And he wants to convert it to something else. And say you want to do it and just do it easily. Then you mark it and then press a Control-Shift-3, I believe.
Then click on the toolbar icon, or use the menu or the speed key, Control and the pound key together. Here you...
And that opens up your number conversions. All right? So you can do anything. You can quantity, money, ordinal, Roman numerals, generic, phone number, social security, zip code, time, and date. Okay? So all you have to do is just click on one of those and then it changes it to that. You have to make sure that you have the correct amount of numbers too. Okay? So if you're doing a telephone number, it's 7, that's 10 numbers. So you can't have 9 numbers and try to convert it to a phone number. It's probably not going to do it. Okay?
Is this when we, like for example, we do the command star or asterisk T, and it's supposed to cut and convert the number to time, right? When we go in and define the asterisk T, we global it, or do we have to mark it and do shift? Or
No, that should already come in because that should be in your dictionary when you do asterisk T. So you shouldn't have to worry about this. This is the number that you're trying to convert.
Okay.
Okay? And let's say that you had a number. Let's say that you had 931 and you wanted it to be in time. Okay? Well, there's an easier way to do it than this. Okay? When you write 931, the AutoMagic keys are already going to give it to you. It's going to give it to you in 931, $931, 930 as in time, probably 930 as in an ordinal. So it's going to give you those different. So to do this, you're probably going way out of your way. But this is just another way to do it, to convert your numbers into something that you want. Okay? It's just another way of doing it. Got it? So your asterisk T should already be defined as time, so that should already come up. And if it doesn't, once again, there's probably something wrong in your dictionary.
See your number as it starts out, and as it would look depending on which format you choose.
Okay? So when you go in there and you global or you highlight it, this is the way that it's going to come out. Okay? Now once you pick one of these things, the output is going to show you what it's going to come out like and if that's the way that you want it. Okay?
However, your numbers settings will control, and so the gear icon takes you quickly to adjust those settings.
So if something's still not coming out and you need to adjust something, then all you do is go to that little gear and it takes you right here to this automatically to the numbers in your user settings. Okay?
Within these short presentations, it's not possible to show all that Eclipse Automatic Number Conversion can do. So a separate in-depth ePower video tutorial is available on automatic number conversion.
Any questions about that? No? All right. Now we're going to go to number settings.
Here are two quick examples of how to fine-tune your numbers settings. The numbers section of your user settings asks two general questions. First, how do you write numbers? So what do you even want number conversion to process? And second, what kinds of numbers do you want in words as opposed to digits? This first writer doesn't use the number bar and wrote the word "and" when it was heard. So ignore written numbers is not turned on, but process "and" as part of a number is turned on.
Get that?
For that person that only writes
Or
words.
that person that only writes the numbers out. Okay? Only.
For general quantity numbers, this user has Eclipse write out 1 through 10, but put 11 and above in digits. For currency, do not write out any numbers, just use digits. And
So you see what it's telling you there? So for currency, you don't want any values if you write out the digits. Okay? So you want to make sure to go in there and change it because it's probably going to be 1 through 10. It might be 1 through 10 or something like that. So it's supposed to be, it should be no values if you write your numbers, your numerals. Not write them out. Okay? Rewind it just a bit.
If you don't write them out, if you write them out, you don't want.
If you use the
want it
number
no
bar,
values.
use the number bar.
Oh,
There's
this
no
is-
values.
But
this user has Eclipse write out 1 through 10, but put 11 and above in digits. For currency, do not write out any numbers, just use digits. And for ordinals,
So you're just going to use digits there for currency.
But that's even if we write it out or if we use the number bar.
No, it's telling you if it's just digits.
1 through 10, but put 11 and above in digits. For currency, do not write out any numbers, just use digits. And
Just use digits. So if you don't, then you probably need to leave the 1 through 10 in there, I guess. Because it's saying just use digits.
Okay, because like for example, on the quantity, I set mine, I just want to make sure I understand. I set mine to, on the write out section, I put no value, so all of my numbers, when I write them out, they all still come out digits, and then I go back and I change them, whether it's 1 through 10, it needs to be spelled out in that, you know what I mean? Like, all of my numbers come out digits, regardless, like I said.
And that's the way you want it set up?
Well, I mean, I don't, that's the way I have it set up, I don't know. I figured it was easier for me to go in and just edit it if I needed the number to be written out versus it not be written out, you know what I mean? If it's, for whatever reason, a number that's.
But you write your number, you write all of your numbers out anyway, don't you?
In steno, like I write them out,
Yeah.
I don't use the number bar, I write
Yeah.
them all out. So I mean, does it matter, like the currency, I mean, it's all gonna come out digits anyway, so.
I think there's something in there that you can change. I'll have to go in there and check. But I think there's something in there. Let me see.
Does Jacqueline use her number bar?
Use a combination of number bar and words like I do.
doesn't use the number bar, and wrote the word "and" when it was heard. So ignore written numbers is not turned on, but process "and" as part of a number is turned on. For general quantity numbers, this user has Eclipse write out 1 through 10, but put 11 and above in digits. For currency,
So I think that's what it's doing. What do you have on this? No values? Then do 1 through 10. Do you want 1 through 10 to come out in numbers? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just asking, it doesn't matter, like, I think you answered my question with it. I mean, it doesn't matter if I write them out or if we use the number bar, it doesn't matter because it's gonna read the,
Yeah.
it knows what to do,
Yeah.
or to convert
Yeah.
the number, whether it be through
Well, see, and
this,
there's
whether
gonna
it
be
right
different
now.
times where you're gonna need numbers, and you're just gonna have to change it yourself, probably.
Okay.
Because there's no set rule unless you use your number bar and write them out, which is what I do, which makes it easier. But if you just write them out, and that's okay, then, you know, it's one step. It's one step that's gonna make it different. It's all it is, you know? So, I mean, you know, you're just gonna have to figure out when you need the number. Because it's not a
At that
set
point, it would
rule.
just be editing, or proofreading and editing at that point.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
C. Do not write out any numbers, just use digits. And for ordinals, write out 1st through 10th. There are different settings for what to write out at the start of a sentence. And as of 1 million, Eclipse will use words to make large, round numbers easier to read.
You see what it's saying right there? So on 1 million, it's going to put it as words when you keep it like this. Okay? Rather than put it in numbers. Okay? So it'll know million and above. That's what the little plus thing is for. So million and above is going to put it in words. Okay?
This number bar user uses word strokes to indicate when a number from 1 to 10 should not be in digits.
You see? Which is what I do. When I want it written out as a word, I write it as a word. You know? But, I mean, sometimes you're going so fast, you think you know, and it's okay. I mean, if you hit it wrong, I mean, it's not the end of the world, trust me. You're going to be able to go back and fix it. Okay? And the reader, if you're doing real time, is going to know what you're talking about anyway. Okay? So it's not that big of a deal. So if you put about 3, number 3, and it comes out number 3, they're going to know. So it's not that big of a deal. Okay?
So ignore written numbers is turned on, and Eclipse is not being asked to write out any values.
So that's what you want to do when you do it that way. Okay?
If you use,
If you use words and numbers, you don't need to worry about this unless you're going to start using the number bar.
let me just,
Anyway.
just in case.
Let me write it down anyway. So ignore written numbers and then no values, write out. Okay?
Number conversion is treated at length in the efficient editing tutorial, so be sure to look at it.
Okay, any questions about that?
So I am supposed to delete the numbers.
Yeah. Like your dates, leave those like they are. They should be okay. Okay? Like if you're gonna use that twun, twu, twee, whatever, I mean, which is what I do. And they come out when I need them to. That's the only way I write them. So it comes out. That's what I need it to do. But, you know, when you write it, like you were writing earlier before we went on, before we started, and you do the 2002, and you write it out, number 2, THOU, and then 2, then it's going to come out 2,002 because it thinks that you're talking about a quantity and not a date.
Okay.
Okay? So doing the date thing may fix it. That may fix it. But see, I haven't messed with it enough to know whether that's really going to do it or not. And they may tell us later on in this tutorial that it may fix it. Okay? Okay, and on some of the, we talked about that too, on some of the time or whatever, and what is more correct, I think. You know, everyone's gonna do it a little bit differently, whatever. I mean, whoever you go to work for, you know, they're gonna be probably proofreading your stuff. And if you do it like this, which is the way that I would do it, which to me is the correct way, at 9, I'll dine. Because he's talking about a time. It's not gonna be at 9. Okay? Because he's referring to a time. And this to me, like I told you guys last week, means 9 o'clock.
You said o'clock.
And I try to keep it, and I was taught that you always keep it in words. So it's NINE, or SIX, or FIVE, whatever, but you keep it in words. Now, the person you go to work for may do it different. They may want it like this. You know what? I want it in numbers. 9 o'clock, looks better, whatever. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, it's personal preference, whatever, so that was just the way that I was taught. Words, that's a correct way, never do it. Okay? Seeing on the write out, you know, in general, what numbers should be written out, I mean, you know, it's hard to say. You know, it all depends on what you're talking about or whatever. So when there's no values, if you have ignore written numbers on, you know, then that's the one for you. I mean, when you write out numbers. But, you know, it gives you choices. 1 through 9, 1 through 10, 1 through 12, etc. You know, whatever you want to do. And just like this, I haven't seen anyone need all numbers written out. Not going to happen, okay? At the beginning of a sentence, what number should be written out? 1 through 100 is common, okay? But, you know, it just all depends. I was always taught that unless it's like a date or money, date, money, something like that, then it's always